Hi, to start off with today's fifth grade worksheets, we are going to begin with proportions. So basically what we're going to do is find the missing number of the fraction. So that equals to the fraction with the full both values. So there are two ways to do this. One, you can use more mathematical ways such as cross multiplying and PEMDAS, or there is more straightforward thinking. So we'll do one of each, and it'll make sense once I do it. So for number one, I'll do it the more quote unquote mathematical way. So we see that this is the missing number, the denominator of 1 over whatever, and what we're going to do is cross multiply. And although, yes, there's no multiplication symbols, you still can, as long as you don't write multiplication anywhere. So we're going to cross multiply. And we're just going to start off with the x. 6 times x is 6x equal to. And 1 times 60 is 60. And now we're going to try to isolate the x. How do we do that? We're going to divide 6. And that gets rid of that, because that becomes 6 divided by 6 becomes 1. And so it turns into x is equal to 60 divided by 6 is 10. So when we plug it back in, you get 1 over 10 is equal to 6 over 60, which is true. On the other hand, the one where you just think more straightforward is, for example, number 3. So we see that we have the denominator this time and we're finding the numerator. So let's just set it up where we can read it a little more easily. So now, as we can see, denominator will relate to denominator and numerator will relate to numerator. However, we see that 12 and 96, in a way, they're related. They're both numbers. There's no missing letter. So, and when you think about it, 12 times 8 is equal to 96. So that's what the relationship is, times 8. And remember, what you do to one side, or in this case, what you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So now you got to times 8 with 5. And 8 times 5 is 40. So your new fraction becomes 5 over 12 is equal to 40 over 96. And once again, just true. But both ways are very simple, and you get the answer very quickly. Moving on, we will be doing expanded form, and this time, once we get a certain expanded form, we're gonna break that down even further by evaluating the places. So what I mean by that is, for example, number 2. So we see that there is a thousands, hundreds, 10, and 1. And we're going to be evaluating to the point where we're going to break down the places. So for example, let's just start off with the first breakdown. So we see that this 3 is in the thousands, so 3,000 plus 8 is in the 800 plus 800. 2 is in the tens, so it becomes 20, and 3 is in the ones plus 3. Now we're going to evaluate further of the 3,820 and 3. How? Well, what places is it's the thousands, right? So how are we going to rewrite 3,000? 3 times 1,000. And that's how you evaluate this 3,000. And plus, so now let's evaluate 800. Well, what times 100 is 800? Well, obviously, 8 times 100 is equal to 800 plus, and same deal for 20, it's going to be 2 times 10, and plus This one's not that big of a deal, but you can simply just put 3, or to evaluate this ones place, you put 3 times 1. Next, we will be doing order of operations. And once again, PEMDAS, and you gotta remember when it comes to the pairs of multiplication, division, and addition and subtraction, no matter what, you go left to right. So for example, number 3, so we see that there's a parentheses and PEMDAS. It starts off with the parentheses, so let's just work on this first. 35 minus 23 is 12. And we're going to bring everything down. And we see that there's a bit of multiplication and division. And once again, you go left to right. So we're going to start off with the division. 99 divided by 9 is 11. And then you bring everything down. And then there's multiplication. 11 times 8 is 88 plus 12. And since this is the last operation left, what do you get? You get 100. And your answer is 100. And lastly, we will be working on measurements. So very quickly, when you're converting big units to small units, you multiply because the numbers get bigger. And when you go small unit to big unit, you divide because the big units make the numerical number or numerical value go smaller. So let's do number 3, for example. So 5 miles is equal to what feet? And we see that 1 mile is equal to 80 feet. So you just gotta remember, big to small is multiplication. And what do you simply multiply this 5 by? Well, this value. So let's do it. So 5,280 times 5. And let's just multiply 0 times 5 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. You get a 0. Take the 4. 2 times 5 is 10. Plus 4 is 14. 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 1 is 26. So what is 5 miles in feet? It's 26,400 feet. I hope this all makes sense, and thank you for listening.